Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 stars that shined at UFC 294, and there's some big ones. First, though, has to be Bullet Magomedov versus Bruno Silva. Of course, Bruno Silva showed how goddamn tough he is. Of absolute course he did. He eats everything. I was honestly surprised Bullet didn't hurt him more with everything that he was throwing. And there is some concerns with the takedown defense. But again, if he's going to fight like that off of his back, it can be a problem sometimes with control time. But again, he's super active off of his back. And if he can just get some urgency to get off of his back, he's going to be so dangerous. I was very curious to see how his style with that loose, kind of wild but technical style at the same time would translate to the UFC to a higher caliber of opponents, because his record is good, but he hadn't really fought anybody. So to fight Bruno Silva and fight him, have a lot of success like he did, even though Bruno is a very good matchup for him. So I was very interested to see how those styles would play out. Bruno Silva did a good job getting takedowns when he needed to get takedowns, but also he was a sitting target. Figure of speech, but yeah, Shera Bullet Magomedov looked good. I believe he's now 12-0. I was very impressed with him. Again, I would like to see a little bit more urgency from him on when he got taken down. But how active he was, and then he found his way back up in the end of the third round, and still was able to have that elusiveness, that crazy style. His cardio was honestly probably to me the most impressive thing. Slowed down a tidbit, of course, that initial buzz or whatever, and then had a crazy second round, and still to be on his back, still thrown, and then still get up at the end of the third round. That's a very, very telling thing. Again, fixed the takedown defense a little bit, and he's a dangerous fighter. So Bullet Shera Magomedov is number 3. And it's pretty dang interesting to me. Mike Breeden is not a rising star on this. We'll get to him. Don't you freaking worry about that. But number 2 has to be Muhammad Mokaev versus Tim Elliott. I knew Tim Elliott was going to be he was going to give a good showing, and I knew that Tim Elliott would be susceptible to be okay with being on the bottom, because he is good on the bottom. He is good enough not to get caught initially from the bottom. Muhammad Mokaev, and I called it to a dang T, almost the exact submission. I said Brendan Royval and Tim Elliott are going to kind of have a similar fight as Muhammad Mokaev and Tim Elliott had. That fast-paced, crazy, and then Elliott's going to get caught in a sub. I thought Elliott had good moments for sure. I thought he had a couple sneaky uppercuts. I actually liked it a lot. Had some sneaky submission attempts in there. I thought Mokaev looked a little bit slower. Maybe it was just him being a little bit more patient, but I actually wanted to see Mokaev push Elliott a little bit more, go at him a little bit more. But when Mokaev was able to settle down a little bit and figure out his rhythm and figure out the timing of Elliott and figure out that he could pass guard, he could play with him a little bit more on the ground, Mokaev looked like Mokaev has typically looked in his fights. And once again, he has a third round submission. Very impressive. I like Mokaev. He looked good, did exactly what he should have done against Tim Elliott, and that was a really, really, really fun fight for me, personally. Really fun fight. And then the next one has to be Ikram Aliskerov, defeating Warlley Alves. I know Warlley Alves isn't great. I talked about it before. This was a kind of a lose-lose situation for Warlley Alves. 3 losses in a row. Took it on short notice, and that's it. That's again 3 losses in a row, and he's 2-5 in his last 7 matchups. He beat Sergio Moraes, and then he beat Munir Luziz, and he again lost 3. 2 of those are by finishes, and this one, he didn't really do a whole lot. I was expecting him to be a little bit more aggressive, be a little bit more explosive, and he kind of let Ikram find his range and find his rhythm and let Ikram be a little bit accurate. Because, again, we had seen it early. Ikram was kind of trying to test that out a little bit. And Ikram Aliskerov did a very good job of finding that range very quickly. We seen early when he fought Phil Hawes, even though Phil Hawes has a bad chin, we all know this, it still took some time for Ikram to find those shots, that chin, pull that out a little bit. He was a little wild in that first matchup, but when he was able to find the rhythm, find that range, we seen he threw the jab to the right, straight right down the middle, kind of how Nate throws his jab and then a punch right behind. It was a beautiful thing with Phil Hawes. Kind of did the same thing with Worley. When he found that jab, it set everything up. And then he threw that head kick to get Worley to back up against the cage, and that's when he threw a flying knee. Beautiful sequence. The uppercut was gorgeous in the middle of the finishing combination. I'm surprised Worley actually didn't go down sooner, so props to him, I guess, for that. But Ikram is the real deal. Those are my top 3 stars of UFC 294. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. If you disagree, let me know. Let's talk about it for sure. Leave it down in the community section or leave it down in the comment section on this video. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. You guys are absolutely incredible. I'll see you at the next one. Peace.